Well, you just can't give up.
No single person is going to be ever the same as you are.
You know, God made you for a reason. He planted you on this earth for a reason.
You're here for a purpose.
You just got to keep everything ahead of you and just keep going.
Your entire soul is what makes life precious.
Even though you may feel like you're doing people a favor, that's never, ever the case.
I could have made a difference in somebody's life by being that encouragement.
You can't touch near enough people. Why would you want to cut that even shorter?
It also affects everyone around you, your family, your friends, people who've never even heard of you.
You're at your lowest point, you're only going to go up and life will start to look better.
Without moving forward, you're just standing still.
I think it's important to keep going because there's so many things that we haven't experienced yet, being that we're so young, and God has all these great things that we need to go see, and if you cut that short, then what are you missing out on? Like family experiences, things later on down the road that we don't have the opportunity to experience yet.
I think it's important to keep going, one, because of the impact that you yourself may have upon another person. We never know the impact that our lives have on each and every person. And then two, I think it's important to keep on going because my faith, especially my faith in God and in Jesus Christ, calls me to continue running the race, continue moving forward.
No day is truly the worst or best day. When you're at your lowest or highest, you think you'll never get to that point again. And constantly as I've aged, you get there in both sides, And if you're at that point where you think, I don't know if I can keep going, you've got to find that strength because there is going to be better days ahead somehow, some way. You may not be able to see down that tunnel, but there's people to help. Everyone has support even if they don't realize it.
I think it's important to keep going because life is a journey full of once-in-a-lifetime opportunities, and if you give it up too quickly, you'll never know what you're missing out on.
It's a difficult question to answer, and the reason it's difficult for me personally is just because giving up has never been an option in anything. So you just have to keep going. Now there's times where life is going to get difficult, life is going to get to the point where you think there's no end, there's no hope. However, if you give up, then there is no hope. So you have to keep going because that little glimmer of light at the end of the tunnel is always what you need. It's what we strive for.
Each experience is different. No two people experience life the same way as the one before it. There's always different adventures, friends, family to go along with life.
Life is precious because you only get one life, and those around you also get to share that life with you. And it's precious because, if people are precious to you, then why not make life precious?
I think as teachers, we need to understand that our job here is to develop our students much more than academically. I try to explain to my students and my own personal children that the world is about to open up and there's so much more life ahead of them past high school. And we can get so caught up in the here and now and the drama and the junk that goes on when you're young. And there's just so much more out there and such a fun future to look forward to. So I think that's important.
I think it's just the idea of waking up every morning and knowing that God made you and made you have a purpose and a reason to wake up every morning. So I don't see why you would want to give up when there's definitely a plan for you in store.
I think life is precious because it's awesome to go every day outside and discover new places and meet new people and make the new people new friends. And just enjoy every second in your life.
What makes life precious is family and friends and just being able to love them and them loving you and really just being able to do all the small things in life.
my 8th grade year, which was the year right before I moved to Shallowater, at my old school, a kid in the high school committed suicide. He had gotten caught doing something, and it really just wasn't that big of a deal. Honestly, it really didn't matter, but he killed himself, and I didn't know him, but a lot of my friends did. He was in one-act play. Even the kids in the middle school who didn't know him, that entire school was silent that day. Nobody said a word. It affects everybody, honestly. It just brings like that wave of sadness.
My grandpa killed himself whenever my mom was 9, and I never got to meet him or know what he was like, or I don't even know his name really. And so whenever I found out that my grandpa that I've had since I was little wasn't my actual grandpa, that kind of was just it kind of hurt a lot, because I was like, how can someone just leave all the people they love?
Just straight up losing someone by natural causes or by something that's out of your hands is extremely difficult, but knowing that someone took their own life would probably be devastating to me.
Well, a few years back, my uncle Dan was going through a tough time, and we all kind of knew, but he wasn't really in contact with anyone, so we figured it wasn't terribly bad as long as he wasn't, showing too many signs of stress or anything. And one day I remember I was walking home from school, and there was my dad was on the phone when I walked in the house, and he was crying because we'd just gotten a phone call that my Uncle Dan had killed himself. And I remember thinking, even though I was in elementary school at the time, I remember feeling very sad, of course, but kind of what difference could I, in the short time that we spent together, have made, and the family impact, and what was really going on that we didn't know about. And it left the family broken, and things weren't the same for a really long time afterwards.
Well, this has happened to me twice in my career. The first time, one of my favorite students after school just blew up at me, and it was unusual for him because he was such a nice kid. And that night he tried to kill himself. Didn't succeed, but maimed himself. He was in the hospital for about a year, and then about 7 years later he did succeed.
When I was in 5th grade, my brother attempted suicide, and I was the one who found him. And being 10 years old, that was obviously very traumatic for me. It affected me greatly. I had to go to many therapists, and I suffered from post-traumatic stress disorder from it, and till this day I really haven't gotten over it. But the thing is, my brother is still living, and my family is very fortunate that this story came out the way it did. I know families aren't as fortunate as mine is. So just the thought of not having my brother with me today, I can't even fathom that. There would be a piece of my heart missing. Suicide just greatly affects everyone, and I'm living proof of that. Even though my brother didn't succeed, it still is with me every single day, and I'll never forget that.